Okay, so you want to be a pro athlete, huh? Well, today we're going to dive into what it takes to make that dream a reality.
We'll be looking at your notes and some of this awesome source material you found on what it really takes to compete at that level.
Yeah. And speaking of your notes, I got to say your interest in the mental side of sports, that's pretty cool. Not everyone thinks about that.
It's often overlooked, but it's
Mm,
absolutely crucial. You need incredible mental fortitude to make it in that world.
for sure. And one of the things that really stood out to me from your research was this guide, RoleCatcher.
Yeah, RoleCatcher is great. They don't sugarcoat anything.
Uh-huh.
They lay it all out there, the good, the bad, and the grueling.
Exactly. Like, they emphasize right away that being a pro athlete is about way more than just playing games.
It's a whole different ballgame. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment.
So let's break it down. What does a day in the life of a pro athlete actually look like? We've all seen the highlight reels, but what goes on behind the scenes?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, picture this. You're waking up before the sun even thinks about rising.
Oh, no, no way. I am not a morning person.
Well, get used to it because you're hitting the gym, pushing your body to its absolute limit, and then you're analyzing every single move you made.
Wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah. You're not even close to done. You've got to fuel up, properly strategize for upcoming competitions.
See, this is what I mean by the mental side. It's like you're playing chess with your own body and mind.
Exactly. And we haven't even touched on the travel, the media appearances, the pressure to perform.
It's a whole other world. And that actually reminds me of something else you were curious about, the different stages of an athlete's career.
Right, like how do you even get there?
And thankfully, RoleCatcher breaks it down into 4 distinct stages. Entry level, junior, professional, and senior.
It's like leveling up in a video game.
Uh-huh.
Each stage comes with its own set of challenges and rewards.
Okay, so let's talk about the professional level, since I know that's where your heart is set.
Of course. Now, at this level, you're not just playing for yourself anymore. You're representing your country, your team, your entire sport.
No pressure, right.
None whatsoever. You're expected to be at the top of your game both physically and mentally. The training is relentless. The competition is fierce.
It's like everything you've ever worked for has led up to this moment.
And you're constantly being watched, analyzed, compared. Your every move is scrutinized.
Wow, talk
Yeah.
about pressure cooker.
It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But that's what separates the pros from the amateurs. They thrive under pressure.
They're like those diamonds, they can handle the heat.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher really drives home this point, that at this level, athletes aren't just physically gifted. They're running their careers like businesses.
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
They have to be smart, strategic, resilient. They need to surround themselves with the right people, make savvy decisions, and constantly adapt to stay ahead.
It's like they're the CEO of their own brand.
Precisely.
They really are like CEOs, right? They've got endorsements, sponsorships, public appearances. It's a lot to juggle.
It is, and it takes a certain kind of person to handle it all. Not everyone is cut out for that kind of pressure.
Speaking of pressure, RoleCatcher had this whole section on interview questions for pro athletes, and I have to say, some of those questions are tough.
Oh, yeah. They're designed to make you think on your feet to see how you handle the heat.
Like, what kind of questions are we talking about? Give me an example.
Well, one that always comes up is, how do you stay motivated during those grueling training sessions? You know, when you'd rather just sleep in and hit the snooze button.
Right, because motivation isn't always easy to come by, especially when you're pushing your body to the limit day after day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they want to see that fire in you, that unwavering dedication that sets you apart.
It's that inner drive that separates the good from the great.
Absolutely. Another question they love to throw at you is, how do you handle those high-pressure situations? You know, when the game is on the line and the crowd is going wild.
Oh, man, I can only imagine. Those moments must be exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they want to see that you can stay calm, cool, and collected under pressure. That you can make smart decisions when it matters most.
So it's not just about physical strength, it's about mental toughness, too. Which reminds me, you mentioned in your notes that you were fascinated by how athletes deal with setbacks.
Absolutely. Everyone faces setbacks at some point, especially in a field where you're constantly pushing your limits.
Injuries, disappointments, things not going your way, it's part of the journey.
It is. And one of the most insightful questions RoleCatcher posed was, how do you deal with injuries or setbacks in your career?
Because it's not if it happens, it's when it happens, right?
Exactly. And they want to see that you have the resilience, the grit, the determination to bounce back stronger than ever.
That's so important, not just in sports, but in life in general.
Right. 100%. It's about learning from your mistakes, adapting
Yeah.
to new challenges, and never giving up on your dreams.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about the mental toughness, the resilience, but let's not forget about the physical demands of being a pro athlete.
Oh yeah, those are definitely still there.
And one thing I found really interesting was your question about how technology is changing the game.
It's incredible, right? All the wearable sensors,
Yeah.
the data analysis, the virtual reality training. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It really is. Like,
Yeah,
remember when all you had was a stopwatch and a coach yelling at you to run faster?
right. Now you've got these tiny sensors tracking your every move, giving you real-time feedback on your performance.
And it's not just about tracking data, it's about preventing injuries, optimizing performance, taking things to a whole new level.
And RoleCatcher really emphasized how this technology is revolutionizing athlete training and recovery.
They even talked about how athletes are using virtual reality to simulate game day scenarios.
Oh yeah, VR training is becoming huge. You can practice your skills under pressure without the risk of injury. It's a game changer.
It really is. And it's not just about the physical stuff either. RoleCatcher also touched on how athletes are using technology to build their personal brands.
It's crucial in this day and age. Social media fan engagement, building a loyal following.
Mm.
It's all part of the game now.
It's like they have to be their own marketing team on top of everything else.
In a way, yeah. And it just highlights the importance of having a strong support system in place.
Because even with all the talent and technology in the world, it takes a village, right?
It really does. You need people you can rely on to help you navigate the ups and downs of being a professional athlete.
People who understand the sacrifices, the pressure, the unique challenges that come with that territory.
Exactly. And that actually segues perfectly into another crucial aspect that RoleCatcher stresses, planning for life after the game.
That's something I've always wondered about. As much as we hate to admit it, athletic careers don't last forever. So how do athletes prepare for that transition?
It's a process, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's something that RoleCatcher recommends thinking about from the very beginning.
Like, what advice do they give?
Well, they really emphasize the importance of developing transferable skills, things that will be valuable in other careers.
So it's not just about what you can do on the field, but what you can do off the field, too.
Exactly. They talk about how athletes develop incredible discipline, teamwork, resilience, leadership.
Those are all amazing qualities that any employer would be lucky to have.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that being an athlete is a chapter in your life, not the whole story.
I love that. It's about finding new passions, pursuing new dreams, and using your experiences to make a difference in the world. It's true, not the whole story, just a chapter, and sometimes a pretty tough one at that.
Yeah. RoleCatcher definitely doesn't shy away from the sacrifices athletes have to make.
Right. Like, it's one thing to dream about going pro, but what are some of the things you might have to give up along the way?
Well, for starters, forget about having a normal social life.
Ouch. Yeah, that's a big one.
The training schedules are intense. We're talking early mornings, late nights, weekends spent at competitions or training camps.
So no sleeping in, no late night pizza parties, no just hanging out with friends.
Probably not as much as you'd like. RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of discipline.
Right, like making choices that support your athletic goals even when they're tough.
Exactly. Yeah, and that can be really hard, especially when you're young and still trying to figure things out.
For sure. Which is why having that strong support system is so important.
100%. You need people who get it, who understand the pressure, the sacrifices, and who'll be there to celebrate the wins and offer a shoulder to cry on during the losses.
Because let's be real, there will be losses along the way. Everyone faces setbacks. It's part of the journey.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
And speaking of setbacks, that actually reminds me of something else. RoleCatcher talks about planning for life after the game.
Yes. The dreaded retirement word. Because as much as we hate to think about it, athletic careers don't last forever. So how do athletes prepare for that transition?
Well, RoleCatcher actually suggests starting that preparation early on.
Really, like from the very beginning.
Ideally, yes. They stress the importance of developing transferable skills, things you learn as an athlete that can be applied to other careers.
So it's not just about what you accomplish on the field or court. It's about who you become along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, think about the qualities that make a great athlete. Discipline, teamwork, resilience, leadership.
Those are all incredibly valuable skills in any profession.
Right. And those are the things RoleCatcher really encourages athletes to focus on developing because they'll serve you well no matter what path you choose after sports.
I love that because it's not about having a backup plan. It's about recognizing that your athletic journey is just one chapter in a much larger story.
Exactly. And it's about using that story to inspire others to make a difference in the world. That's something RoleCatcher talks about in terms of building a lasting legacy.
Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the medals or the trophies, it's about the impact you have on others.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, I think we've given you a lot to think about today.
We have. We've explored the realities of becoming a pro athlete, the demands, the sacrifices, the incredible mental and physical strength required.
And we've also highlighted the importance of planning for the future, developing transferable skills, and using your platform to make a positive impact.
Because whether you achieve your dream of going pro or you find another path that lights your fire, the lessons you learn along the way will stay with you forever.
Absolutely. So keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep pushing yourself. And remember, your journey is just beginning.
And on that inspiring note, we'll wrap things up here on the deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And remember, keep diving deeper into the things that fascinate you because you never know where they might lead you.